I'm the committee chair for Allied Voices for Israel, and I thought I would start with just some numbers for perspective. So on this planet today, there's roughly 1.4 billion people that live in China. There's 1.4 billion people that live in India, 2.6 billion people who are Christian, 1.9 billion people who are Muslim, 3.5 million people living in the USA, and just 15 million Jewish people on this planet. And I think that's really important because even if every single Jewish person on this planet stood up to fight anti-Semitism, the reality is it's just not enough. And so we need allies to stand up in support of our Jewish brothers and sisters at this time to help amplify their message and stand in solidarity. And that's why I'm so proud to be part of this Interfaith Summit event, and I'm very glad to have been invited. The Jewish people are the most heavily persecuted group of people historically in the world. But you wouldn't know that because of the way anti-Semitism operates. One of the biggest obstacles to combating Jew hate is getting people to take it seriously. And it is so serious. As the oldest form of hate, it doesn't take much more than tiny embers to grow into a full burning forest. The cumulative impact of the vile stench of anti-Semitism in our society is an inversion of reality and the desensitization to the hurt and suffering of our Jewish community. And of course, we know it can and does get much worse. One thing I've noticed about Jew haters is there's some who are overt, they're in your face. But there are those who operate in our society who are covert. And I've learned to recognize them by their cognitive dissonance, by the inconsistency with which they apply the values that they profess to have. I'll give you an example. There's somebody, and of course I won't name names, who has built a reputation in his career for compassion, for being philanthropic, for giving back to the community, who openly bans Zionists as part of their business. And that inconsistency of value application makes Jew haters who are more covert easily spotted. And so I pay attention and I watch.
Who is this person?
Pardon?
Who is this person?
I won't name. Sorry, I don't feel comfortable. But thank you. So the inconsistency with which they apply their values, and we watch them every day as they defend the indefensible of their behavior. There's so many people in North America who I watch and their minds just cannot bend to accept the simple truth that there is evil in this world and there are people who just for no justifiable, understandable reason hate Jews to their bones. It's easy for us here in Canada to forget that Jews don't live like they do here everywhere in the world. There are places in the world where Jews live in fear. They live persecuted, and they live as second and third class citizens. This is not acceptable in Canada, that this type of hatred is making its way onto our streets. As a Christian who's familiar with the history of the Jewish people, to be alive at a time when the Jewish people have what was the wildest dreams of the heroes of my faith, Esther, Moses, Joshua, King David. They all contributed to Jewish self-determination and autonomy, and understood that the Jewish people needed a state, a country of their own, and that is the modern state of Israel. This is a historically significant time, and it pains me to see so many people who are blinded to it. I know I'm not alone, and that my voice represents thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of Canadians who have actually been intimidated into silence. Zionism is an article of faith for Christians and Jews. Article 2 of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms protects freedom of religion. And Zionism, again, is an article of faith for both Christians and Jews. I attended an event that was at the Friends of Jesus Christ Church, in which close to 30 to 50 police officers were necessary in order to restrain protesters who were screaming hate towards the congregation as they were entering to celebrate an event that has been hosted in Toronto in celebration of Israel for over 20 years. I've never experienced hate directed at me that way, and that is not freedom of religion, to be intimidated that way as we go to worship, to celebrate, to watch little children get up to perform and express their hearts. We must uphold respect for each other's right to religious freedom, life-loving religious freedom. If you go to St. Andrew's Church, which is not far from here, my family's name has been memorialized for our contributions in military service for Canada. Both my grandfathers served in World War II, and I see them having contributed to the promise of never again. And I will dedicate my life to fulfilling and helping them maintain that promise. Thank you so much for inviting me to be part of this event.